Don't be irresponsible with your time. That is one of your biggest commodities. Don't be irresponsible with your money, with your body, or your emotional and mental well-being. Hi community, welcome back to A Couple. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Another big sister's advice for the younger sisters, my younger internet sisters. Welcome back to another installment of that. Thank you for joining me. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are taking good care of yourself. I got a special request. I got a request. I'm calling it a special request. I think anytime I'm going to receive a request to speak about something specific when it comes to your big sister's advice, whether that's a dilemma or whether you're asking me to cover a specific topic, I'm just going to call it a special request. Thank you so much to the person who asked that I speak on this. Please, before I get into today's topic, today's conversation, please don't forget that if you have something that you want me to specifically shed some light on or share my own advice on or my own experiences on, please do send it to acupfulll@gmail.com. All of the details are in the show notes. So you're more than welcome to do that. Whether you have a dilemma, whether you have something on your mind, on your heart, and you want me to talk about it and give you some advice about it as an older sister, please do send it through. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about navigating life post-matric. Listen. I matriculated in 2014. This year it's going to be 11 years, which is so wild. Is it? Yeah. It's going to be 11 years this year. Am I right? I am right. I hope the maths is mathing. But yeah, I'm turning 30 this year, so yeah, it is going to be 11 years, which is still blowing me away completely. But yeah, I have got quite a lot to say on this topic, and I'm really so grateful that I got this request, because I have spent the last 10 years sort of journeying from life after matric into the early 20s, then the mid 20s, and now the late 20s. Well, that's almost done because I do turn 30 this year. And firstly, I want to say I completely understand how overwhelming and emotionally demanding it is to make the leap, to make the transition, the change, and wrapping your head around the change from high school to sort of going out into the big world. That alone is a lot. I remember so clearly how nervous I was after getting my matric certificate, the final one. So at the beginning of 2015, the original of all originals, I went to pick that up. So I went to pick that up when those came out in January of 2015. And when I was leaving my alma mater and I was walking towards the gate, I was like, this is actually done. This is done. I am now having to move forward into a new space, the unknown, which was so scary. Navigating the big world, stepping into university, just now thinking about all of these things. My future, for one. What am I going to do going into this new space? What do I want to do outside of school? Do I even have anything I want to do outside of school? What are my options? I was just thinking about making friends, because I was going to a university where only some people that I went to school with were going, and I wasn't necessarily friends with them from high school. So it was quite a lot to take in, and I was nervous. I don't even want to lie. I was very nervous. I was I was a little bit worried because I was just like, I have to make new friends. I need to adjust to this new environment academically. And then I realized that I also have to make emotional adjustments, and it was just a lot. And so I really can see the value and the beauty in sharing this advice with people that have just completed their matric and are settling into university. Also, I know that there are some people that are not necessarily going to take that path. Some people have chosen to take a gap year, other people are upgrading their marks, other people have decided that university is just not for them and they are going to pursue other things. And I do want to say that when it comes to that, I'm not somebody that personally is in favor of that. I do think that we do need to do some kind of a course, even if you're doing a diploma, even if you're just getting a certificate. I do always think that that's a very important thing that everyone should be doing. I am somebody that studied after matric, and I went on to do an undergrad and a postgrad, and I'm not working in the field of what I studied, but my degrees gave me so much knowledge and just taught me to think critically, extensively. I want to say think uniquely, think differently. They are both of them, both of those degrees and everything I was taught in them are the reason why I have been able to work in some of the spaces that I've been able to work in, and that I'm able to work in the spaces that I work in now. I just also think that degrees are, maybe you won't end up using it. Degrees, diplomas, certificates, they are very useful in terms of helping you navigate the real world and the way you present yourself, the things that you choose to pursue. It can be very motivational and inspirational in terms of informing where you want to go, even if you're not necessarily trying to go down the route of what you studied and you realize that you actually don't want to do this, you want to do something else. So it is a personal choice at the end of the day. I do know that. Some make the choice because of they can. Some, unfortunately, it is beyond their control because they can't afford to go and pursue their studies further. But for those that do choose it, and you are saying that this is not for you, I think that be proactive, go and do courses online, look into going into an actual school, an actual space, and getting a certificate of some sort, even if you do a 6-month course, even if you do a year course. I think that that can be very, very valuable. So yeah, if you are in a position where you are taking a gap year or if you are upgrading your marks, I just wanted to encourage you to set goals. So it was not my route. It wasn't something that I experienced, but as someone who has been in a place of being unemployed, as someone who has been in a place of not going in the direction that other people were going in and that has had to wait on certain things, I'm going to say I look at taking a gap year or upgrading your marks as sort of a waiting period, and you need to be proactive in that time. Set SMART goals. I have an episode on setting SMART goals that I recorded at the end of last year. I'm going to link it. I'm going to add it to the show notes, and you can go and listen to that. So I'm not going to go too much into detail with that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but I'm going to say that when it comes to goals, you need to be very extensive with them. You need to be very specific about them. You need to go into as much detail as you possibly can. That can be very, very helpful in making sure that you are not just allowing time to pass you by. You are very intentional, you are very focused, and you have an end goal in mind. And also, when you have a SMART goal, even when things are changing, your circumstances change, or a situation that you didn't expect comes up, something happens in your life, you are able to redirect your steps. And I think that that is something that is so important because life is unpredictable at the end of the day. So you need to make sure that you are very, very intentional when it comes to setting your goals and that you are committed. I think that's a really, really big thing. Have a plan. Always have a plan together with your SMART goals. Make sure that you have a plan and that even if that plan doesn't work out, then you have another plan, right? And again, this is for people that are in a position where they are taking a gap year, or where they are upgrading their marks, or where they are deciding that they are going to work for the next 2-3 years and save so that they can go and study, which is such a respectable and mature thing to do. Just sacrificing those 3 years and saying, this is something that I want to do. I want to go to school, I want to study, so I'm going to work and I'm going to put money away. Have that plan in mind and make it very, very, very clear that this is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do. The worst thing that you can do to yourself is sort of just float and wander around. If you don't have a plan and you don't have a goal, right, you are going to end up working and then maybe using that money to buy sneakers and to go out. And when somebody is having financial issues, then you're going to just want to give them the money or help them out. And that's a noble thing to do. But remember that is more likely going to happen when you don't have that plan in place and you are not intentional, right? And sometimes we want to help, but we have to also look at our own situation and realize that, oh, I'm actually not in this position to help somebody else. I would love to, but I can't. So that having a plan thing is very, very important. Be focused and committed. That's just another thing I want to speak on. Know what you want, commit to it, and work towards it. It doesn't matter which route you have chosen to go down. It doesn't matter what you are pursuing. Those are two very, 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 very important things that you need to carry with you. Keep your eyes fixed on what you are working towards. There are a lot of distractions, specifically social media, and I am going to get into it a little bit towards the end of the episode at some point. But just make sure that you are fixing your eyes on your own lane, on your own life, on your own dreams and goals. It can become very easy to wander off. If you're scrolling on Instagram all the time, you're scrolling on TikTok, you're not taking breaks, you aren't getting off of your phone and going outside and doing things like experiencing nature and meeting other people, connecting with other people, you are going to end up becoming very, very distracted. And one thing that can happen very quickly as well with being distracted is you are now willing to sort of go and do anything to get to where you're trying to get to. And we all know how I'm very much against that. Even in last week's episode, I did mention that the whole episode was literally about allowing things to happen at the right pace, slow maturation, and I am somebody that believes that there is a right pace. We also live in a time where people are just really drawn to instant gratification and people want to live microwave, quick fix lives. But that's not the reality of life, and you need to embrace that. That is a big part of going out into the adult world. It's embracing that things don't always have to, and most of the time are not going to be quick. They are not going to be fast. They are not going to be easy. And they don't have to be. It's okay if something takes time. It's okay if you take time to get to a certain place. I always say that there is so much more to celebrate. There is so much more to be proud of when you have really worked and been focused and intentional and kept your eyes fixed on the thing that you've always wanted. You didn't do it at any cost. You didn't cut corners. You worked. And even though social media doesn't necessarily always talk about that, and it's not a narrative that is pushed or that is upheld, it's still something that we need to appreciate, learn to see, learn to understand, and learn to be content with, So yeah, the next thing is be careful with social media. I just mentioned that social media is something that you need to get off of and you need to give yourself a break from. Social media has taken over so much of people's lives, and people no longer think for themselves anymore. Their opinions, their thoughts, their dreams, their hopes, the things that they desire are based on what they see on social media, what other people have. and it takes away from your individuality, from who you are supposed to be here on earth, what you are supposed to be doing. Don't allow that to swallow you whole, because it can very, very, very quickly. Unrelated slightly, but also not. I am heartbroken to see the growing trend of 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds doing 5, 6, 7-step skincare routines because of this overconsumption of social media and this pressure to belong, to look like everyone else, to do what everyone else is doing. At those ages, even at 29, 30, maybe at 30, things start to change. But even then, your skin is radiant. It's beautiful. As long as you're taking good care of it and you have your basic moisturizer, you have your cleanser, your moisturizer, and your sunscreen, your skin looks good because you are young and your cell turnover response and time frame is so fast. So there's no need for somebody as young as 8 or even as young as 18. Even in your early 20s, you shouldn't be using so many skin products on your skin. And that is what the influence of social media, and I also want to say parents who are not parenting the way that they should, who are not teaching their children to be comfortable and content with who they are as they are, who are not encouraging their children to understand that social media is what it is, but that should not dictate how you are going to choose your life. Parents who are just allowing their children to be on their phones all the time and not in any way controlling how often they're on their cell phones, how often they're on their laptops. It's just kind of, you can do whatever you want. And that really, really bothers me. And it's raising a generation. It is raising a future, creating a future where young girls are not going to feel content without modifying their skin, their body. They won't be happy with themselves without changing something about themselves physically. And that is sad. It's so heartbreaking. So I want to encourage you to not allow yourself to get to a place where social media dictates your every single move. Your every single move, your aspirations, the desires of your heart, the things that you're looking for in a romantic relationship, how you see yourself. I need you to be extremely careful. Just be careful who you choose to follow, what you choose, the kind of content you choose to consume. And then just offline, the kind of conversations you are having with people and the spaces that you're allowing yourself to be in, because these things also influence us so much. So you can use social media. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but take breaks. Don't make it your entire world. And also remember that a lot of what we're seeing on social media, very short videos, you don't have a microscopic view of people's lives. You cannot see what people are doing, how they are making their living, how they are able to afford the expensive handbags, the fancy restaurants, just going out every single weekend, always on holiday, always in close proximity to money. Okay? There are people in South Africa that are wealthy, that are rich, that are financially comfortable, but it is not the large majority. So also, something else I'd like to recommend is that you allow yourself to become cognizant and aware of signs, indications that this might not necessarily be what this person is making it out to be. Educate yourself, have that media literacy. And I guess it's not necessarily something that you're going to always find online, because that would defeat the purpose of the influence that the media would have. But we need to train our eyes, our ears, our minds to be able to differentiate between reality and just fake, or just sort of a creation of an alternate reality where people live in their own world. sometimes people present themselves as well off influencers, a person who's running a business, but that might not necessarily mean that they actually have that money. Maybe they are in serious debt, or they are doing certain things to be in a position where they look like they have money and that they are comfortable. So yeah, do your research also in terms of understanding what is used on social media to manipulate people's views, and just how things can sometimes to be made to seem real when they aren't. Okay, do your research, go onto Google, educate yourself, inform yourself about these things. And if you are in university, you need to know what you believe in and who you are. Okay, so that you aren't consumed by the university experience so much so that you end up making poor choices. The university experience is nice. It's really, really enjoyable. It can be fun. It can give you an opportunity to really experience the space that you're in, to connect with people, to meet like-minded people. It can be an opportunity to create beautiful memories that are going to be a part of your life forever. And when I say beautiful memories, no offense to anyone, but I'm not talking about going to the club and staying there until 4 o'clock in the morning and then going to somebody's house and continuing the party there. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. Again, no judgment, no hate to anyone who has done that, who enjoys that, but that's not my idea of fun. Also, I have been there, by the way. That was once when I was much younger, my idea of fun, but it's not anymore. So yeah, now that I'm a lot older and I know so much more, the beautiful memories that you can have don't have to have anything to do with alcohol. And also, just with me, I was at the University of Pretoria. I know that there are so many other things to do now that weren't available back then, not just around the campus, but in Pretoria in general. You can even discuss it, save as a group, go to Joburg and enjoy various activities there. There are markets. I mean, there's the Hazelwood Market in Pretoria East, but there are nice markets there. There is the Museum of Illusions. You can get an Airbnb with your friends and stay for a weekend. You know, there's so much to do that does not have to involve getting drunk, getting high, going to the club. There is so much outside of that. So don't get too consumed by all the parties and all the opportunities to just do whatever you want because you are not within eyes view of your parents, okay? The second thing I want to say is enjoy yourself, but don't be irresponsible. Don't be irresponsible with your time. That is one of your biggest commodities. Don't be irresponsible with your money, with your body, or your emotional and mental well-being. So I want to break these down. When it comes to time, don't put having fun above studying or going to lectures. It really isn't worth it. Please, it is not worth it. Time really is one of our biggest commodities, and being wasteful with it is literally stealing from yourself and stealing something that you can never get back. You can never get it back. Ask me. I thought I had a lot of time still in my 20s, but I'm at the end of them now. Okay, so don't be fooled by the fact that, oh my goodness, I'm still so young and I've got time. That's good. You are young, but you don't have the time that you think you have. So use the time that you have very wisely. Money. Don't spend the money that you don't have doing things that won't have any valuable returns. Okay, let's get real, girls. In university, unless you come from a wealthy family, unless you come from a rich family, you don't actually have a lot of money, okay? Even if you're getting an allowance of 10,000 rands, listen to me. Even if you are getting 10,000 rands every single month, wherever you're getting it, that does not mean that you have a lot of money. So just start training yourself already to see that you are fortunate and that you should be spending that money wisely, not on unnecessary partying, drinking unnecessarily. Alcohol is honestly just a waste of money. A serious waste of money, in my opinion. Don't buy clothes every time you go out for an occasion. There is no need for you to be using your money recklessly. I'm not saying don't treat yourself. I'm not saying don't be comfortable, but I am saying be mindful that even though you are getting a comfortable allowance, and even if you are not, there is space for you to, number one, save money, whether it's 100 rands, whether it's 5 rands. It's just also about the habit and getting into the habit of saving. But also look at what you are spending the money on. Is it worth it? Is it going to have any actual returns? Is it? Okay. And don't go out without budgeting. And don't live beyond your means. These are two very, very important things. I've been caught up in both. I remember spending almost all of my allowance. Also because I got drunk and I was just swiping the whole time. Was that valuable in any way? No, it wasn't. Not the drinking, not the getting drunk, and definitely not spending my money recklessly like that. Okay? So just make sure that you don't live beyond your means. I've also done that in university before. I've agreed to go out to a place that I couldn't afford because I didn't want to say no to my friends. At the time, I really struggled with people pleasing. So I didn't want to say no. I just didn't. So just be mindful of those things. Your body. If you are sexually active, please use protection. Please use protection. Okay? Most campuses give out condoms. Some campuses even have a clinic where you can go and get a contraceptive. And even if your campus doesn't have a clinic, we have clinics all over South Africa where you can go and you can do a family planning session and get contraceptives. Okay? Please, 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 please. I personally being the keyword here, believe that sex isn't something you should just be giving to any man under the sun. That's my belief. We don't all share the same beliefs, but I don't think that sex is something that you should just be openly just engaging in with anyone and everyone. STDs, AIDS, pregnancy, these are all very real things. And even though condoms are safe, they don't always guarantee, it's not always guaranteed that they won't tear. Okay? And anything can happen in that process. So if you are wanting to have sex, I recommend that you do it with somebody who you trust and who you know is responsible and will not try and evade taking responsibility in the event of anything happening. Sex is also a very spiritual thing, and it does result in you bonding with a person, whether it is a little bit or a lot. That is the reality of it. That is the truth. For a very long time, it's a truth that I just rejected and I was not interested in hearing, especially when I was young and in my earlier 20s, and I thought I knew it all when I didn't even know much. Okay? It's a spiritual thing. And one way or another, you are going to bond. And sometimes it's not this magical feeling that you feel once you've had sex with a person and you just feel so connected to them. No. Sometimes you are going to pick up on whatever they're going through spiritually, whatever's happening with them, and you're going to pick up on that stuff and you're going to take that with you. Because it is guys, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So that should say a lot. Okay? The third thing is you don't need to date. Don't feel pressured. Don't allow the pressure to get to you. I'm going to take it back to social media. Social media is something that pressurizes a lot of people, where people, that's not something, I'm going to say people feel pressured to date and for it to look a certain way. You know, I'm getting roses, I'm getting jewelry, I'm getting a girlfriend allowance, which is all very, very unrealistic. If you are with and I've mentioned this before, if you are with your fellow university counterpart and you're both struggling financially, what gives you the idea that he'll be able to buy you flowers every week? And you're not entitled to that. Where is he going to get money to give you a girlfriend allowance? By the way, I just purely dislike that girlfriend allowance thing. I think that is another absolutely ridiculous idea, concept. The whole concept, just the whole heart behind it. It doesn't really have a heart behind it. I think it's led by selfishness, but it's just ridiculous. And then there will be people that can offer you that, but he's a much older guy. And the dynamics within that can become very dangerous very quickly. Okay? And we can talk about this one in another episode if you want me to go a lot more deeper about my thoughts and my perspectives about that. Let me know. But you don't have to date. You can stay single. You can abstain. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And don't feel pressured. Okay? The fourth thing is, when you feel that something isn't right, please listen to that feeling. Okay? And this applies to everyone. Whether you are in the university space, whether you're taking a gap year, whether you're upgrading your marks, whatever it looks like, please, when something feels off, then it probably is. Just advice going into the world, listen to your gut feeling. Going into the adult world, listen to your gut feeling. Always. Always, always, always. All right. I also want to encourage you to invest in self-development. Self-awareness is very, 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 very important. We have a lot of people that are categorized as adults by virtue of their age, but they are still definitely children. 10, 9, 8, they're children. And they struggle to think like adults. And I think that also, it comes from a lot of things, right? Our upbringing affects the kind of adults we become. But as we get older, we do have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and to take full responsibility for our growth, our well-being, our healing. And that's why I'm encouraging you to invest in self-development and self-awareness. Work on your critical thinking skills. Be your own person so that you do not become somebody that just goes with what everyone else does and has views like everyone else's. The self-awareness and the self-development thing is also very important for understanding who you are, what triggers you, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, what are the things that you really enjoy doing and the ones that you don't enjoy doing. What are you looking for from other people in friendship and romantic relationship? Are you somebody who is calm, or do you tend to get agitated very quickly? You need to know yourself. You need to know all of these things about yourself. The thing that has really helped me to continue getting to know myself and understand myself better is just being curious. Be curious. Don't be afraid to be curious. Don't be afraid to find things out that are not necessarily things that you ever thought about. Okay? This is going to change your life for the better. Question things. Again, be curious, including how you have been socialized and engineered. The things that you were taught growing up. I know that we were taught that the things that our parents showed us, that they instilled in us, that other elders in our lives taught us, some of the traditions that we found in existence in our families, that's the norm. But what if the norm is destructive and unhealthy and it's causing so much damage? Then you have to question, should this really stay? Do I want to keep this? And if not, how am I then going to pursue unlearning these things, untangling myself from them? Be mindful of the company that you keep. This is one of the most important things that I've learned, that the people that you choose to surround yourself with and the conversations that you're going to have with them are going to have a huge influence on you as a person. So just be extremely careful of the company that you keep. You are still young, okay? You don't have to have it all figured out. You really don't. And I want you to not stress yourself out. The world is moving so quickly. People want life to be like 2-minute noodles, but that's not how real life works. You are going to figure things out as you go. And there are some things that you aren't going to figure out until you're 40 years old. And that is perfectly fine. I have embraced that. You really don't need to know what's going on. You don't need to know what will be going on in the next 20 years of your life. And you also don't have to have the 5-year plan. Have a plan, but it doesn't have to be for the next 5 years. Be intentional, but also don't take life so seriously, okay? All right? Please, give yourself some grace, give yourself some space. You are doing great. You are doing good. If no one has told you lately, you are doing so good. All right? Yeah, girls, this is definitely where we are ending this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this episode was beneficial. It was helpful. I want to hear from you. I really do. I want to hear what your thoughts were on this episode, and I want you to share any other dilemmas that you might have. I'm sure you noticed that I would not mention anyone's name, so you don't have to worry about that. You will remain completely anonymous. I really enjoy sharing some of my lessons, the things that I've learned, the things that really helped me out. I'm enjoying sharing those things, and I want to continue doing exactly that. So send in whatever you have for the next Big Sisters advice. Please share this episode with anyone that you feel would benefit from it, that would enjoy it. I would really appreciate that. And if you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to rate it and leave a comment in this episode and any other episode that you enjoyed. Rating the podcast helps it to reach more people, and that is exactly what we want. Also, everything else is in the show notes. The TikTok handle, the email address. I've also linked that episode that I mentioned, so do check that out. Have a lovely remainder of this week. Rest when you need to, work when you need to. Be kind to yourself and others. Don't forget that this life is a journey. Do not treat it like a sprint. Do not treat it like a marathon. It is your own unique journey. And most importantly, keep doing the things that fill your cup.